up, Cowboys Nation? The Dallas Cowboys beat the Philadelphia Eagles 40-34 in what most likely may just be one of the games of the year. Let's jump into it.
Down the field, Lamb, 10-5, victory! Touchdown, Ezekiel Elliott. How about the rookie Micah Parsons? What a play!
Defense wins championships, but the Super Bowl is won by the quarterback.
What a freaking game, man. Especially on Christmas Eve. I mean, just straight up, amazing rivalry between these two. And they put together a really amazing game again. Be sure to like and subscribe. Cowboys move on to 11-4. They avoid the losing streak. Like you saw in my pregame prediction video, I've been telling you guys the Cowboys have been able to bounce back from a loss every single time this year, and they do it again. They answer the call. They defeat the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, huge implications, right? The Eagles, if they won, they would have clinched the NFC East at AT&T Stadium in front of all their fans. They also would have clinched the number one seed, which is home field advantage, and a first-round bye for the playoffs. None of those things are happening this week, and I am just so proud of this team for scraping together a win and fighting for their pride. We talked about that. I said this game is about pride. This game, in all essence, is meaningless, to be honest. If you get down to brass tacks and you look at the implications, the playoff implications, seedings of this game, it's meaningless. It really is. But the Cowboys still fought for their pride. They really fought for each other, and they said, you know what, we're going to go out there and we're going to play and we're going to win and we're going to do our best. And they did, and they scraped together an incredible win. One of my favorite wins. I mean, just off the top of my head, it's up there. It really is up there. And so we split the series with the Eagles. Obviously, they beat us the first time without Dak Prescott. And this is why, look, this is why every Cowboys fan was saying, like, hey, just wait for Dak Prescott. Wait for Dak Prescott. Wait for the Christmas Eve matchup. Because Dak Prescott, not only before going into this game, he was 7-3 against the Eagles in his career. Now 8-3. This offense just looks dramatically different with Dak Prescott. So we weren't just saying that, or at least I wasn't saying that just to be like, oh, well, you beat our backup quarterback. No. This team looks different for Dak. It looks different with Dak Prescott as the quarterback, and he showed that tonight. Wow, what a game, man. I mean, I'm wearing his jersey right now, and hot take or just instinctively, I can't think of another game where I've just felt so proud of this man right here. I mean, he really is an elite quarterback. He is an elite quarterback. That first interception was tough. And it was his fault, and he knows that. He admitted in the press conference, everyone and their mom knew that. But this is the thing about Dak Prescott. The way he answers, this man is so mentally tough. You have to give credit to this man, not only for what he's gone through in life, but to come back and put together that type of performance that we saw tonight and lead his team to victory. I'm thinking to myself, and I kept these thoughts to myself in the past few weeks, the Cowboys are obviously struggling in their secondary, and they're down a few defensive players. Their defense is not as impactful as it used to be at the moment. Hopefully we can get somewhere near close to that in the playoffs. But I'm thinking to myself, we really need to see Dak Prescott elevate his game. And he's looked really great since he's come back. But without a strong defense that's holding off points, we're going to need an offense to score more points because, in the past few weeks, the Jaguars have scored 40, and then this week, the Eagles have scored 34. So you need a quarterback, you need an offense that's going to put up at least 30 points. And I'm thinking to myself, we need this man to step up. We need this man to elevate his game and show off to the league, and he's done that the past couple of weeks. That first interception was awful, like I said, but I mean, look at these stats. Line 27 of 35, 347 yards, his first 300-yard game. When we needed him the most, he stepped up today, and you have to tip your hat to number 4 for leading this team to a win tonight. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, just an exceptional performance from Dak Prescott, and one of my favorites, and one that I think will be talked about for a very, very long time. because it wasn't a backup linebacker, it wasn't a backup cornerback. It was the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys against one of the top defenses in the National Football League, the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagle fans, the NFL analysis will tell you how good this defense is. And at moments they were good. They got to Dak Prescott 6 times tonight. But Dak Prescott shut the door on that, and being resilient as he is and finishing the fight and persevering like he always does off and on the field, he went 27 of 35 and 347 yards and 3 touchdowns. The play of the game, in my opinion, back-to-back sacks. Dak Prescott's in a hole. 3rd and 30. I honestly think it might be game at that point if we punt it. But he fires a rocket down the field to T.Y. Hilton. And thank you Hilton. Thank you, T.Y. Hilton. That play should be talked about for the rest of the season. And just the every circumstance that has come to that OBJ news, non-OBJ news this season. I mean, that play is right now, to me, just might be the play of the season. And that, wow, I'm just in awe. I mean, CeeDee Lamb here, 10 receptions, borderline unstoppable in that first half. 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Man, I'm so proud of this team, because not only were they down 10-0, they were also down 27-17. They had to come back, dig themselves out of that hole. I told y'all in the pregame prediction video, I said this game is a game of pride. This is your season right here. How are you going to respond? And when they were down 10-0, they jumped back up and took the lead 14-10. And when they were down 27-17, well, they came back and won the game 40-34. This team has got some fight. They're down some players, but they showed fight tonight, and they took down what a lot of people would consider the best team in the NFL. Now let's get to the major headline: backup quarterback. Let's talk about the defense, because I've spent a lot of time talking about the offense and Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and just how amazing they all were. The defense, this secondary scares me to death. And Gardner Minshew had himself a pretty good game. 4 turnovers, though, on the Eagles is what cost this game. 2 interceptions from Minshew and 2 fumbles from the Eagles. Minshew went 24 of 40, over 350 yards, 2 touchdowns. That scares me. If Gardner Minshew, and I'm not saying he's a bad player, but he's not a starter in the NFL. But if Gardner Minshew can throw over 350 yards against you and take it until the final minute, and we're going to talk about those final closing minutes here in a bit, then we should be a little bit worried about what this defense is capable of doing in the playoffs, because they have to play better. It's not going to be Minshew here in the playoffs. We're going to play a different type of caliber quarterback. Now let's talk about this final few minutes, because I got to wrap up this video because it's Christmas Eve, and Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. We're close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, and I thank each and every one of you for the amazing season that we've had thus far. But Merry Christmas. But let's talk about this final few minutes. I was frustrated, angry, mad at those final few minutes. And if we would have lost this game, it would have been terrible. But I want to keep the same energy, because the clock management and the situational football and the level of high IQ plays that this team is not making in critical moments is going to be costly. And I wanted to make a note of this in this post-game reaction video. But things that you see in the season, you hope for them to be resolved in the postseason, but they're not. They're just small little glimpses that do make their way back into critical, important moments, such as in the postseason. And we saw that last year with penalties. It was apparent in the San Francisco wildcard game. There are some issues with the secondary, there's some issues with the rush defense, and there are some major big red flags when it comes to this coaching staff. Not just the offensive play calling, because Kellen Moore, there was a couple of times where he should have ran the ball and ran the clock. But ultimately, Mike McCarthy, the head coach, and I'm all on the, I love Coach Mike. I think he's done a fine job, especially in back-to-back seasons with 10-plus wins. But that game should nowhere have been that close in the final few minutes. Dak, instead of going out of bounds, needs to get down on the ground, and we need to run the ball in those situations. There's times to be aggressive, I completely understand that, but there's times to be smart, pack your bags, take the win, go home. And I just hope to God that's not going to be apparent when it comes postseason time, because that honestly worried me. And you look at this team, you look at this season, I'm not going to get too much into detail with it, but there have been a few mistakes on the coaching staff that has got us a win, but it's also, you know, given us a few losses. You look at the Packers game, you look at the Jaguars game, you look at this game. Other than that, I'm glad we won. We're 11-4. We avoid the losing streak. We split the series with the Eagles. We avoid the sweep. And there's a glimmer of hope, Cowboys Nation, that if the Cowboys win out and the Eagles lose out, there is a scenario in there where the Cowboys can be NFC East champs. Imagine that. I'm going to let you sit with that. But the Cowboys, I'm proud of this team. It was a tough, ugly, it was a slugfest tonight. But the Cowboys came out on top. And you're not going to hear me complain too much about when they win. And they won. They found a way to win when they were shorthanded, understaffed. This is a game to be proud about, especially for our quarterback, Dak Prescott, and CeeDee Lamb stepping into the limelight. And Jerry and Steven, thank you for going out there and getting T.Y. Hilton, because it mattered in that moment. Imagine if it was Noah Brown. See? It makes a difference when you go out and you get a caliber guy. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video, because the Titans are coming up here on Thursday, so you're going to see me here in just a little bit this week in a couple of days. But enjoy your Christmas. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. I can't thank you enough. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Go Cowboys!
Lamb, 10-5, victory! Touchdown, Ezekiel Elliott. How about the rookie Micah Parsons? What a play!
Defense wins championships, but the Super Bowl is won by the quarterback.